Today, we are discussing about the PLI for the telecom sector, that how it plans to boost domestic manufacturing in the country. Now, as telecom operators in India are gearing up to commercially launch 5G into the country, it becomes crucial that there is an ecosystem that gets developed for supporting the domestic manufacturers in the telecom equipment sector. Now, the PLI that was introduced recently, the purpose of this PLI scheme was to promote domestic manufacturing for telecommunication and networking equipment. And I can say that the larger objective was to reduce import dependency onto the imports, and provide a domestic market for manufacturing in India. Now, the manufacturing should not just cater to the India market, but as well as for the export market. The scheme is being viewed as a welcoming step by the telecom industry, and especially for the global companies which are looking at the scheme to restructure their supply chain and relocate their manufacturing base and de-risk some of their business operation. Now, to discuss this, I have a very esteemed panel with me. And to introduce, I have Dr. Rajkumar Upadhyay, who's Executive Director and Chairman at Center for Development of Telematics. Mr. Subrata Mitra, Head Government and Industry Relations, Ericsson India. Mr. Saurabh Singh, Head Government Affairs, Nokia India. Mr. Prashant Jain, Director, Public Policies and Government Affairs, Tejas Networks. Mr. Nitin Jain, Vice President, BVDN Technologies in India. And I, Anshul Agarwal, Partner, KPMG in India, would be the moderator for the session today. Now, without any further ado, I would go straight to my panelist. And my first question I would like to pose to Dr. Upadhyay. Sir, in your view, how is PLI scheme expected to promulgate the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat of the government?
You see that in our country, we have everything. We have talent. We are doing work for Nokia's, Ericsson's of the world, but the manufacturing was not happening here. So there were some disadvantages, disabilities, which has been set right by giving some incentives through PLI. What PLI is going to bring, it will bring some investment close to 3,345 crore. It is going to, lead to manufacturing of 1.82 lakh crore of production. It will generate jobs of 40,000, and it will, supply, and the more importantly, the security, because in telecom, the security is prime important, and you know that the government has launched trusted portal, trusted sources, trusted products, all those things. So if telecom is done in India, of course the PLI scheme is for many sectors, but it's very important for telecom because of the security reason. The most other important aspect I would like to bring is we have a trade deficit in electronics alone, electronics and telecommunication. We have a trade deficit of around $50 billion. Yes, we have improved our production from $29 billion in 2014-15 to $76 billion last year. But still, these imports are also increasing. So therefore, I feel that for our country to get the ecosystem done for hardware also in our country, this PLI is definitely going to help. And if we have to become Atmanirbhar, slowly, we have to develop the hardware ecosystems also in our country. I'm sure that this scheme will go a long way in, and the if you can see, the beneficiaries of PLI schemes are SMEs and non-SMEs. So small people also will get benefited there. So I think it will develop good ecosystem in our country.
Right. Definitely, sir. I think one of the key, objective that we have seen, that the scheme doesn't only promote the larger players, but it also promotes, the MSME sector, which is very good, and will create domestic manufacturing in India. Will promote the domestic manufacturers in India.
Yes.
So my another question to you is that we all understand that for establishing a global manufacturing base in India, the need is not just make in India but also design in India. Now, given that, I would like to hear your views that how India can enhance the R&D ecosystem in the country to attract high tech industry players.
If you really look at the competence of making designs in India, I think we have that competencies. I think Nokia's and Ericsson's will vouch for that. That half of their work is being done by TCS or the companies in Bangalore and Noida, Gurgaon. Okay, so we have the expertise. The only thing is that we were not putting all together. For example, I can say from C dot itself, we have complete technology for set-top boxes, Wi-Fi's, routers. You name any technology we have. But when it comes to the cost, we are outsmarted by uh, the companies like, for example, countries like China, because who produce in a big way. So therefore, this PLI, I think, will help coming these designs back to the manufacturing in India. The I think design has to be part of this, and I can give another example. For example, when the government took a decision that in 4G we will have only indigenous core, at least to start with BSNL. If that decision is not taken, 4G will never be developed in India. Since that decision was taken, CDOT has developed the 4G core, and CDOT in partnership with Tata and Tejas have come out with a complete 4G solution, which is complete Indian. Not even one component in that, not even a screw, other than the SOCs, chips. Nothing is abroad. I mean, coming from India. So coming from abroad. So we have the capability. We have the designs. We are, but of course, R&D. More efforts need to be made. More investments have to be made. Look at Huawei. For example, Huawei's R&D budget is $18 billion per annum. $18 billion. Maybe Nokia's will be $8 to $10 billion. We are not making that kind of investment. So we need to really make more investment. I think government is very keen in promoting the R&D in India, and more results are likely to come. So I have no doubt that we can come up with in design also very well once the manufacturing starts in India.
Great to hear that, sir. And in fact, the same question I would like to pose to Mr. Mitra. That what are your views? How do you see, our preparedness of designing in India, and what further government can do to enhance the R&D ecosystem?
Thanks, Anshul. Thanks, Dr. Upadhyay. I'll take on from where Dr. Upadhyay left. See, from Ericsson perspective, we have been manufacturing telecom network equipment in India since 1994. Possibly we are one of the first ones to do in India. Of course, our legacy in India is since 1903 when we supplied the first telecom gear. And today, as we speak, almost 90%, more than 90% of the radios that we supply to Indian telecom operators are actually manufactured in Pune, Maharashtra, with our partner JBL. So, from that perspective, I think we have addressed this need of reducing imports and all that you mentioned, Anshul, the import dependency and all. And I think we have also demonstrated that one can do large scale manufacturing in India. It can be made competitive. It is viable, and you can supply. I think that demonstrates that. And this entire PLI scheme which has come is an extremely forward-looking scheme, and I think no wonder one it has seen a very positive response from the industry. Now, coming on to the aspect of design, again, if I may speak from our perspective, today, if you see in the Ericsson global family, Ericsson in India possibly today has the maximum number of employees than any other country in the world, including more than our headquarter country, Sweden. And that is a testament to the fact of the kind of skills and resources, capacities, capabilities that is available in India. And this is across all functions. Specifically on R&D, I can say that we have three R&D centers in India. There's one in Gurgaon, Bengaluru, and Chennai, and a lot of R&D work is happening in India. And including our latest area, which is artificial intelligence, the largest global artificial intelligence accelerator center, or what we call a Gaia Center, is actually in Bengaluru, where there are more than 300 AI scientists, data scientists actually working on AI for technologies for this. So, in terms of this, design manufacturing as company, those are already existing, and it's already happening in India.
Great. I think great to hear that, sir. So moving on, I think my next question is to you, Mr. Singh. Now we understand that the scheme offers incentive for the equipments, but at the same time we do understand that there is a need for the component manufacturing ecosystem in the country, especially given the current crisis of shortage of semiconductors globally. How well do you believe India is poised to use this scenario and capture the semiconductor production market on the back of this PLI scheme?
Sure. Hey, thanks, Anshul, and thanks for the opportunity. So definitely, I mean, look, I'll take off from what was mentioned by Ericsson earlier, that there are the companies are already manufacturing finished products in India. Telecom companies in particular, we have one of the only two global manufacturing facilities of Nokia, one of which is in India, in Chennai. So you could, and we are exporting 50% of our production. So you could just understand the scale of manufacturing competitiveness and capacity that we have built up in the country. Now, that is on finished products. Now, coming to the components, yes, components ecosystem and creating that component ecosystem definitely is a much bigger challenge, because the scale and the economies of scale, the costs involved are at a much different level than when we are talking about finished products. Just to give you an example, I mean, when I talk to our component maker friends, one of the demands coming from them is that PLI for component makers should not be just for 5 years; it should be for 10 years, and not just for 5%, but it should be for 10%. Now that gives you an idea of the scale of disadvantage that the component makers have in India versus, say, somebody manufacturing components outside. I'll give you an example. From our side, we do a lot of efforts on getting our suppliers built up, or in terms of their component capability, and we do a lot of due diligence of these suppliers across India. So, just to give you an example, we did a lot of due diligence for PCB makers in India, and there are a lot of PCB making facilities. And after interviewing and doing this due diligence for 6 to 8 suppliers across India, we found out that maybe two of them had the capability to do what we were asking, but they did not have the capacity, because the capacity required a lot more investment to make those advanced PCBs, the advanced chipsets that we were looking for. And that is where government could come in terms of targeted incentives. They should not look at the entire spectrum. That is one, PLI. But apart from that, they should take, say, PCB is one example. Then there are other areas, just as transistors, radio transistors, resistors, and things like that. So they could look at each of this subset of components and see what could be the targeted incentives there. So for PCBs, if they give more capex incentive, maybe that could scale up to supply to people like us at Nokia or Ericsson or anybody else manufacturing in the country. One more point I'd like to make on components, which is that from our experience, what we have seen is that on one hand, definitely government is looking at PLI for components. They are also looking at semiconductor fabrication scheme that has come up. But apart from that, let me tell you, we could start with something basic, and that could have a immediate impact. That is to get the large scale distributors and aggregators of components in the country. So when Nokia buys components, we buy from hubs maybe located in Hong Kong or maybe somewhere other in the Southeast Asian country. And these distributors are aggregating the demand, and they are able to price the components cheaply. But when I get it in India, importing from outside, then the freight costs alone make a lot of it disadvantageous, make the economies disadvantageous. So maybe a small short-term solution, government could get the distributors here in the country. That would be very helpful. The other thing is some of the measures like import duties on components, which came out in the last budget. I think those are rather disadvantageous rather than giving any advantage to the component makers, because to the manufacturers of finished goods like us, these import duties on components are actually increasing the cost of finished goods. and making the product that is coming out from Nokia factory less cost competitive way versus something coming out, say, Nokia factory in Vietnam. Okay, so that is counterintuitive. But what the government needs to do is to have the targeted incentives for components, have a longer term horizon for scaling up this component ecosystem, and bring up champions in the component making sector. So yeah, definitely that would be very helpful to us and the manufacturers of finished goods.
Right, right. No, definitely. I think I can agree that till the time we have the complete ecosystem present here in India, it is important the government, keeps keeps these customs duties lower so that the company or the businesses here in India, they have the advantage to grow with the PLI incentives, and they get the real benefit out of it. As of now, the PLI incentives are actually just setting off the cost that the importers are paying on the import of products outside the country. Now, to your point that government should bring the distributors here, but at the same time, what we are hearing that to promote the manufacturing of semiconductors, government is looking into some of the incentives, and there is a PLI scheme also that the government is deliberating internally. So, Dr. Upadhyay, my question to you, if you can throw some light, around this, if you have any visibility around incentive that the government is planning to bring on for the manufacturing of semiconductors here in India.
I have really no idea that what exactly scheme has come out. I mean, nothing has come out as of now, but
Yeah.
definitely government is seriously working, because if we have to develop the ecosystem, we have to complete value chain. We have to look at it, and semiconductor is one of the very key component. And you know that due to semiconductor shortages, a lot many R&D is also getting delayed. Therefore, definitely it is on the agenda of the government, and I'm sure that some of the private sectors are also working on this, to bring these kind of facilities in India. We'll wait for the government to roll out the scheme. So as of now, I can definitely say that yes, government is aware that what all obstacles are there, what all disadvantages are there to our manufacturers. Government is very keen to solve all those problems.
Right. I
So
agree. I think we look forward to that, sir, because the most important thing, this is the right time, maybe, given the global shortage of semiconductors. This is the time when the government can promote manufacturing here in India and
yeah.
can take advantage out of the current scenario.
Yeah, but semiconductor system came in 1950s, and slowly progressed. So we have been in the habit of importing and getting things done. So if we need to set up those things, it will definitely going to take some time. But definitely, government is very keen. Government is working very hard to see that the complete value chain established in India, so that we become real Atmanirbhar. Because the value addition won't help alone. Like Make in India, what is happening? Like, well, somebody is saying I have value added 20%, 30%. We would like to see India having value addition of 100%, and not only meet the Indian market, we also start exporting our things. But definitely, something will come out.
Thank you, sir. So, moving on, my next question is to Mr. Mitra again. So, you know that given this current need for a robust telecom infrastructure in India to enable networks of future, how is PLI scheme expected to boost network expansion in the country? Would like to have your views on that.
Okay. As Ericsson, we have participated in the PLI scheme and we are making the investments in the production facilities in Pune through our partner Jabil. And as I said, the PLI scheme for telecom network equipment is an extremely positive scheme, well thought out scheme. And I believe, as others mentioned, there is a need to extend possibly the scheme to the component manufacturers, because please understand there are a lot of telecom components which go into telecom network equipment which are very specific to telecom networks, and hence it becomes essential to have a dedicated scheme for them, and again targeted both at MSMEs, SMEs, and for non-MSMEs, so that we are able to build the overall component ecosystem in India. And I think we also have to address the custom duty disparity, which Saurabh referred to. I think that has been a huge disincentive to the overall manufacturing ecosystem, and it creates that uncertainty. On the PLI, how this could do is that, see, once you have a lot of production of telecom network equipment in India, one will be able to service the Indian telecom network right within India, and you will have different kind of requirements. Now, I'm purely looking from the 5G perspective, because that will be the network which will see the next range of deployment. So you will have different, whether it is macro, micro, in-building solutions or small solutions, street furniture. There will be different types of radios, antenna integrated radios, microwave solutions. So there is a whole range of products which will be deployed by the operators to meet the specific requirements of the market, and you will find this requirement diverse based on the end user there. So you will have solutions which are different in one area of one geographical area. Plus we also have this entire the future of 5G in industry, whether you call it an industry 4.0, IoT, M2M, or whatever there, but you are expecting a massive offtake of 5G in enterprises, as enterprise network, private networks, and they will also be depending on the operators or the telecom ecosystem to help them to set up that network. So from that perspective, there is going to be an additional demand from that sector, and that these requirements will also be very diverse, very different, and across, as I said, large, macro, massive equipment. On the data consumption side, what we anticipate is that 5G will see a massive growth in data consumption. At least that's what our experience is coming from the parts of the world where we have rolled out the networks, and also our consumer research and other research shows that there is going to be a massive offtake in data consumption. So, despite India being one of the largest per capita data consumer today, our expectation is that this is only going to grow multifold. And from that perspective, you will see massive MIMO deployments in urban locations, in urban centers, and other centers which will consume this amount of data. And similarly, we expect large amount of use cases which are either consumer specific. I'm talking about sectors like agriculture, healthcare, education, where you will find a lot of consumer related use cases. And similarly, on the industry side, whether it is supply chain, logistics, manufacturing across large, small, medium, ports, railways, shipping, logistics industry, mining. So you will see a lot of different types of equipment network that they will be needing for their specific applications. And this PLI will actually help in manufacturing of those different kinds of equipments in India. And obviously, if the ecosystem grows, you will have components available. There will be a growing incentive for companies to make that equipment in India. But one thing which is important to understand is that, see, unlike other sectors, the telecom network equipment is a purely B2B equipment, and it is a regulated equipment. So, in certain extent, the market gets created, when issues like spectrum and they are made timely available. So very positive statements recent from the government in terms of timely spectrum auction annually and all. I think these are all very positive indicators towards the future of telecom network equipment in India. And I will just add to that, when as and when access spectrum is made available, it's important that we also make the backhaul spectrum. Backhaul spectrum is made available to the Indian telecom sector, so that one is able to roll out a very robust backhaul, wireless backhaul, which is very critical to make both for 4G and also for the incoming 5G in India.
Okay, great, sir. So moving on, my next question is to Mr. Prashant Jain. Sir, you know that Indian telecom players have a prominent, place in the neighboring countries as well as in the African market. Now, I would
Mhm.
like to understand with the introduction of the PLI scheme, whether the domestic telecom players would be able to expand their reach in the global market.
Yeah, thanks, Anshul. Thank you all. So, I mean, what I would like to say here is like the last few years, we have seen India, I mean, doing lot of, when you talk about any LOC or grants being, I mean, given by the Indian government to other countries, it has always been in the form of like, we would like to build bridges, we would like to supply some railway equipment, make some roads, right? But in last few years, we have seen many of our, Indian OEMs, which has gone to these countries, and there, they have made a footprint in terms of their telecom equipments. Now we have seen them. From Tejas perspective as well. Like we have now presence in, many countries in Africa. In Southeast Asia, we are doing, good amount of business over there. So, the PLI scheme definitely will be a support for such type of, projects. So, like talk about few of the projects which we have done in India. By various, companies, and which we see there is a lot of scope for us getting to all these countries outside. The first of it is like the BharatNet. So BharatNet, what we have done is like we have connected. The idea of BharatNet is to connect all the villages of our nation, and to provide some sort of internet connectivity over there, right? So we have started with few of the, gram panchayats. As I understand, we have already completed more than 1 lakh gram panchayats out of 2.5 lakh, and the idea is that we will be completing all these gram panchayats in coming few years, right? So when we have taken up this project, showcase this project to many of the other countries, like the friendly countries, the neighboring countries, or the African countries. That is what they also desire. I mean, whenever they have visited our villages where we have already put up this network, they have liked that. Like some 70 odd application. Definitely, Mr. Upadhyay will can tell us better that so many applications we have developed using his support, and that they are running on the Indian telecom equipment, right? So such type of projects can very well go, outside India, in African countries, in the neighboring countries, and that is the requirement they have. So when talk about utilities as well, talk about the power sector, railway sector, right? Majority of the telecom network of there is still also running on the domestic telecom equipment, I would say. And there also we see the opportunity to continue the same in all these countries that we talked about. Right. And the PLI scheme definitely will be a very, very helpful step in that, because, till date, we have seen, PLI is first of all coming up for the mobile phones. So now PLI is now coming for various other sectors. So PLI scheme definitely will help. So one thing I would like to mention here that, we talked about requirement of semiconductors, chipsets, and everything. We also feel it is very, very important. And apart from that, we would like to see something coming up in the form of R&D as well. So when we talk about any of the PLI scheme, there is always a thirst on the manufacturing, which is very, very important. It is required, but we would like to see something coming up for R&D as well. When talk about the current telecom PLI scheme, right? So there's a limitation that you cannot go beyond this much amount of percentage in terms of the investment. So we would like to see some scheme, or the new PLI scheme, which gives more, I would say, emphasis on building the R&D, the IPR in India, or making the product right from the scratch in India. So that we would like to, see in the PLI scheme. And I would like to, apart from that, as you rightly mentioned, this telecom PLI scheme has also promoted the MSME, and we see there is a good requirement of, uh, I mean, when talk about the larger products like high-end products, that is good, but having MSME also in this PLI scheme will definitely give a good, say, a good market access to the smaller players as well outside. So that I think is good about this scheme.
Great.
Yeah.
So, in fact, related to that, Mr. Upadhyay, Dr. Upadhyay, I will come back to you. And one related question here is that definitely Mr. Jain emphasized on the need of R&D or any schemes or any incentives that the government could bring in to promote the R&D sector here in India. Another, so this whole technology, R&D, and equipment, they go hand in hand. Of course, with the PLI, there's a lot of emphasis the government is placing on the manufacturing of goods, but somewhere, do you believe that the government should also focus on some of the technologies, R&D, and they should bring out specific schemes to promote, this promotion of R&D within India, or development of technologies, more and more technologies within India? So, do you believe that there should be any scheme that the government should be focusing specifically for the R&D, or I can say technologies?
I think R&D is, of course, expensive. I mean, so many companies won't take it. Uh, Therefore, government has, like CDOT is funded by government. We undertake lot many technologies. Unfortunately, our technologies have not been marketed well, to be very frank, and because whatever equipments were coming and people are happy at the low cost. In my opinion, the PLI also, currently it doesn't depend upon what value addition you're doing. If you add up 5 years of AMC on any product, I think Indian product will win. What happens? You buy a foreign product. I'm talking about the commodity products like routers, Wi-Fi, set-top boxes. They go off in 2 years, so nobody bothers. Whereas Indian-made product like CDOT product is running BharatNet today from 2014 onwards, 2021, they are running fine. There is no such this thing. So R&D, definitely government is looking at it, and R&D is being taken care. And we recently had a meeting, conference with our PLI and DCIS, that startups were have been funded by DOT. 16, 17 startups have been funded separately apart from PLI. We had a conference with them on 2nd December. We said, whatever we have, whatever IPR we have, we'll give it to you free, because we the whatever IPR CDOT develops, it's for industry. We don't charge for it. We straight away give it. So R&D is definitely government is thinking, and R&D has to be a focus for the country. Related to software, if you're asking, I mean the software part, the software part, as far as the software part is concerned, software ecosystem and the hardware ecosystems are very different. Hardware ecosystem, we have lot many dependencies on component chips. This on the software side, we are strong, and that is how we are able to do a lot of software export. It did not require any incentive from the government, but hand holding by government and NASCOM kind of thing. So here also in R&D, I am sure that once our IPRs are being developed, with patent filing, for example, patent filings are not there in India. Hardly any patents go. Most of the patents come from US, China, Korea. So our patent, if you look at the last year data, I was listening to one of the um, uh, speakers from WIPO. He was telling that, from India hardly any patents come. Most of the patents are filed. We also need to work on patents. We start culture. I think we should give more incentive to the people who are filing patent and making these patents as SCPs, standardization patent. Unless until we make these patents as SCPs, you look at the 6G, 40% of the patents have been filed by China. Well, some are from Europe, sorry, Japan and US. Europe is also, I think, 8% or 7%. So R&D definitely is very important, and government is looking at it. And as far as the CDOT is concerned, we are open to industry. We will support them, even if they tell us that you do this R&D, we'll do it free of cost, if it supports Indian ecosystem.
Definitely, that's really great to hear, sir, and I'm sure that industry would really appreciate the support from CDOT as well. Now,
We,
coming to
sorry, I'm sorry.
sorry,
Please
sorry,
go ahead.
sorry, sir. Please go
No,
ahead.
I said that, we have started a lot of research in 5G, 6G, what our secretary has told, our honorable minister has told. So if any of the piece of R&D industry would like us to take, we will take it up and we'll deliver it in time to the industry. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, sir. So, coming to Mr. Nitin Jain, so my question to you here is that definitely the PLI scheme, it has seen a very good response from the domestic market. Now, do you believe that the scheme offers or it creates a level playing field for the domestic manufacturers, or do you believe that the government needs to focus more to incentivize the domestic manufacturers or to promote domestic manufacturers?
Thanks, Anshul, for your question. Right. So, firstly, yes, government has taken a very good initiative by giving the PLI scheme to the domestic manufacturers, right? And as I'm listening to others basically questions, right? So where you are facing the challenges, I just want to brief you about the VVD and what we are doing from last like 14 years in the country, right? So Vividian is a original design and manufacturing house, right? And we started with the design-led manufacturing, right? So when we are talking about the R&D in India, we are developing a lot of IPs, right? We are developing the IPs, we are developing the products, and those are getting into the manufacturing, right? So we are doing the design-led manufacturing in India. And when we say about the design-led manufacturing, today we are working into the telecom networks where we are building 4G, 5G kind of radios for the Taiwan OEMs. We are building Wi-Fi access point, which is going into global market also, in India market also, in PM Wani kind of projects also, right? We are doing a lot of switches, ONTs, and other products also for the telecom market. And if we talk about the challenge which you said, right? So like Saurabh mentioned about the PCB challenge, right? So what Vividian is having today, we are working on the vertical integration. We are seeing that yes, we require the ecosystem, but how Vividian can able to solve the challenge internally, right? So in that series, we started that we are having today SMT lines, and today we can able to manufacture the board which is required for the product like Massive Memo or the IT servers. So we are having those kind of big SMT lines available with us. And then we develop mechanicals also. Today, there are a lot of companies like Tier 1 OEMs also. They are partnered with EMS house in India, but mechanicals are still getting import outside India. Right? So we basically have the manufacturing facility where we can able to do all your CNCs, prototyping, tooling and molding. We put the largest die casting plant in India. So we are having the capability to have the die casting facilities that is required for the radio kind of products. Right? So we did that. Going forward, our roadmap is that next year in this vertical integration, we want to solve another challenge, that is the PCB fabrication. So we are going to put a very big plant in where we are going to have the PCB fabrication also. In another, I think 8 to 10 months of time, it will be up and running, right? So it's there. So we are trying to resolve that issue also. And it is when Saurabh said that there are certain houses which is having the PCB but not the capacity, right? So and we are going to design also, and we are going to basically manufacture the PCB or fabricate the PCB up to a capacity where we can able to meet the requirement of in-house India requirement and the global requirement. We kept those numbers in the mind, right? And accordingly we are actually putting up the plant like that. Of course, PLI helped us a lot in growing our company, right? We got lot of visibility today, right? Vividian today, there are a lot of Tier 1 OEMs who are working with Vividian. But there are few challenges also, right? Being a domestic player, right? One, of course, like is the logistic, right? If you talk about our neighboring nations, their logistic cost is way too lower than ours. Like this is something which government has to see how they can lower the tariffs on the freight or something so that the logistic cost should be reduced, right? Where we need to reduce the cost. Secondly, is we need to see from government to government. Today, if we see the silicon industry partners, right, component partners, they always saw India as a second place, basically, right? So the prices which other countries which are today doing the bulk manufacturing, they are getting, we are not getting those kind of prices. So government of India has to take an initiative, need to have government to government talk, and need to push those suppliers to give the better pricing to India as compared to other countries, so that Indian manufacturing should promote and be able to meet our domestic demands as well as global demands. So that initiative we require from the government, right?
Huh?
Then on the domestic front, if we see, look, today, if you see domestic and foreign company, both in the PLI, both are having the same level playing field. But if you see some other countries where government is actually supporting more to the domestic companies, right? So they normally put a condition that okay, it is much percentage of equipment should come from a domestic manufacturer only, or domestic design-led manufacturer only, right? So there, I think we require a government support where government can support us in getting and enhancing the domestic manufacturing.
I can completely agree, sir. So I think the need of the hour is to create this component manufacturing infrastructure as well in the country. Now, taking cue from your question, and I would like to address this question to Mr. Mitra. See, despite the PLI incentive, we have seen that the cost of manufacturing in India is still slightly higher as compared to the some of the neighboring countries, and the reasons could be the financing cost or logistics cost, like Mr. Jain mentioned and Mr. Singh mentioned. Now, do you believe that this lowers the confidence of the global manufacturers, or India is still, like Mr. Upadhyay mentioned, that the quality that Indian manufacturers are offering, that is definitely a notch above. So, what are your views? How do you see manufacturing growing in India, and this cost comparison the moment we start looking at some of the neighboring countries?
Uh, yeah, I can speak on behalf of Ericsson. So we have been manufacturing in India even before the incentive schemes were announced. So for us, India continues to remain an extremely attractive destination. We are committed to manufacture in India. In fact, our strategy is to manufacture in India and export from India. As we speak, 5G radios manufactured in Pune facility is being deployed in other networks in the world, and that's a huge matter of pride for everyone in Ericsson in India. And I think it also sends a message that in India you can manufacture and supply to the world. But the points that you have raised and others have raised are something that needs to be addressed if we have to increase manufacturing in India and make it viable. Because as Saurabh referred and others referred, the end of the day, even within a company, your factories in one location compete with the others. You're not in a isolated, picture. It is not that there is only one factory, so you compete. And there, I think our logistic cost plays a very important role. And I think Mr. Nitin Jain alluded to that, Prashant alluded to that. We need to work on that. And believe me, this is transportation cost, clearance cost, both inward and outward. Especially if you're doing exports, you have to bring everything in, then manufacture and export out. We have to look into that, and that is relevant for all sectors in the country. And obviously, for telecom network equipment, where there is focus on everyone is interested to bring down the cost to make them the end service affordable. There is always a pressure to bring down the cost. That is one. While the transportation and logistic costs can be worked, I think one which we request the government to immediately look in, if it can, is this entire imposition of custom duty on components which are actually not made in India. So what it eventually happens is that you already have a disability in terms of manufacturing in India. Now, if you have to import the components and you pay custom duty on that, and then you make the finished product becomes significantly expensive in India. That actually, negates the entire purpose of growing India or promoting India as a destination. I think that's one area which needs to be worked on. Second, you also need to ease out lot of you know policies, paperwork when it comes to manufacturing in terms of permits, licenses, which are needed. Because please understand, now I'm purely speaking from wireless products. As these are highly controlled, regulated products, there are additional set of compliances and licenses which one needs, and they sometimes the getting those licenses on time, renewing them on time, actually impacts your global supply chain. And especially as Ericsson, and I'm sure everyone else would want the Indian manufacturing unit or the facility to become a very important part of the overall global manufacturing supply chain. That's how you grow the local, whatever the manufacturing facility is. And for that, predictive supply becomes very critical, especially in electronic supply chain. Both inward prediction in terms of when the components can reach your factory and when your finished product can reach the consumer in different parts of the world. The predictability is something that we need to focus on, and I think that's where other manufacturing destinations have an advantage on us. So what to overcome that disability, manufacturing facilities in India, everyone, we try to typically keep additional inventory in terms of raw material components, or you even produce the finished goods ahead in time so that you can dispatch, so that there is no way it gets blocked and all. What all this leads to, it increases the costs of the Indian facility when you compare it with any other facility, because these are adding on to the cost of that. And I think these are something that it needs to address. And I think this is not one company specific, or but if this can be addressed, it will help everyone in the ecosystem. For example, if you are a company with a facility which is slightly inland and you're not, I'd say, just adjacent to the coast, what is the time taken? Obviously, there's a massive improvement in terms of the physical infrastructure which is happening. So the road infrastructure has significantly improved. So if you have a facility, we are in Pune, but if you have a facility, say in Noida and other parts of the inland, then but that has done. But how do you ensure that your shipments can say clear from ports in a predictable time when you compare with say other global ports anywhere else in say Singapore or other ports of the world? So those are the benchmarks which, if it can be helped, and I think that should be on the focus of us as a nation. That okay, can we take up some of the most efficient supply chain logistics centers of the world? You can take up, say, Singapore is one, Rotterdam is one. There are enough number of examples. Can we benchmark against them and see how fast can we do this turnaround? Because then everyone is going to benefit. Us, everyone on this call, the telecom sector, other manufacturing sectors, because those efficiencies they come in, it helps to cut down the costs of manufacturing, and that helps you to make the local manufacturing in India competitive. And the benefits of that is not just the Indian market, but your exports then become competitive in the world. I think those are some of the measures now that we need to look at to do, and that's where I think a holistic approach. There is a lot of work on logistics and supply chain, which the government of India is doing. Niti Aayog is doing a lot of commendable work on that. But I think a lot needs to be done so that we can plug that, and then you will witness the benefit of that. Will entire Indian manufacturing will enjoy for a long time to come. And to add my last point, please understand the cost disability, say, of supply chain, transportation, inward logistics, outward logistics, actually impacts the small and medium companies, MSMEs, much more than they impact the big companies, because obviously the scale and all. So if you want to help to grow these MSMEs in India and help create this entire component ecosystem and the overall manufacturing ecosystem in the country, we need to have a focused approach to bring down this disability cost. And you will see then almost as Dr. Upadhyay mentioned, there is no dearth of talent, manpower in India. There is enough competencies. You have very positive schemes and policies from the government. But if you can plug this piece, it will almost address the constraints around it, and this will turn around the Indian manufacturing story for the future.
Right.
Thanks.
So yes, I think somewhere, yeah, thank you, sir. I think definitely the need of the hour is not just the focus on the tariff reduction, but at the same time, not non-tariff reductions, which is the operational cost, which is a huge burden for the industry. So quickly coming to Mr. Singh, just to question that the scheme requires you to make an investment over a period of commit an investment over a period of 4 years with the commitment to meet a minimum threshold every year. Now I understand that for the first year, which will be as on 31st March 22. The industry believes that they may not be able to make the minimum committed investment, which will, make them ineligible for the benefit of at least first year. So, what are your views? Do you see any challenge there, or you believe that there should not be any challenge, and the industry should be able to meet their committed threshold?
Okay. I think Nokia may be an outlier here if you say that the industry may not be able to meet the committed threshold. Because we are very well on course to meet in fact, we have surpassed the committed threshold for the first year. Okay.
Okay.
So from our side, I don't think there is a challenge. We have been, as we have been mentioning, that we are very proactive in the manufacturing for the domestic market and also for exports, and we only need government support to enable this manufacturing and exports further. One challenge that I foresee is over a period of time if we may face challenges in increasing our exports because of some of these regulatory approvals that were being talked about. So, for example, in Nokia, we for export of some of the dual purpose or dual use goods, we require export licenses from the bodies such as DGFT, and these are take a lot of time, and there is a lot of turnaround time involved. There is a lot of uh, effort involved, manpower effort involved in getting these approvals, and that makes us less competitive in terms of our commitment to our global clients. So if we are exporting, we have to have some SLAs that we can meet, and very stringent SLAs that are coming from these global customers. And if say half of our time is spent getting or chasing after these approvals, then the global customers also lose confidence in the Indian factories' ability to deliver. So that is one challenge. I'll give you an example, just a simple thing, and it's not even about manufacturing. It's just about our repair centers that we have in our country. So the products that are coming from abroad for repairing in India, we have a very good market and we have a very good capability to be able to do that. But the SLAs that our repair centers can give to our global customers is about 3 to 4 weeks, saying that 1 week the product will come, it will get stuck in customs, will get some approvals, then it will get repaired in say 3 or 4 days or 1 week, and then it will take another 2 or 3 or 4 more weeks to get the export approval of the product back. Okay, so and while the SLAs that our maybe a repair center in China or Vietnam could give is about a week. They will take 4 days to repair and 1 day for imports and 2 days for exports, 2 days for exports, and that's it. So that is where the disabilities come from, right? Cost is one factor, definitely, but we are not just when a global OEM or MNC like us manufacturers in India, it's not just the cost that we worry about. It's about the time, the SLAs, the commitment, the credibility of the factory, and everything. And that is where, when the government support is lacking, or if there is too much red tape, then the confidence of the global customers goes down. And that is when I'll tie it back to your question, that our ability to meet the committed, not just investment figure, but the commitment production figures, then it goes down, right? And that needs to be addressed. We are in dialogues with the Department of Telecom on it, but definitely more support and more action there would be very
So I
helpful.
think I can hear that you're echoing the same view that Mr. Mitra highlighted, that at a customs front we need more process improvements and operational efficiencies to bring down the cost and to bring down the time involved in the clearances, etc. Okay, moving on. Mr. Nitin Jain, just one quick question. Like Nokia definitely says that they're an exception and they'll be able to meet their investment for the first year. Do you believe for the domestic industry this could be a challenge, given the fact that the results for the PLI schemes were announced in October? Whether the domestic industry would face any problem in meeting the timelines in terms of the first year's investment threshold? Just a quick response from your side, and then we can move on. Yeah.
Sure. So Anshul, if we see from the Vividian perspective, right? So we don't see challenge as a Vividian. We don't see it as a challenge, but might be from the domestic industry, right? So there might be challenges as the manufacturing is not in India, and now the players are coming out. Basically, they are getting into manufacturing, and manufacturing today because of the global supply chain issue, right? So there is a delay in the manufacturing due to components. There might be some issue which will come.
Okay. Okay. Good. So, keeping time in mind, just one last question to Mr. Prashant Jain. Sir, how do you believe that, what other measures or what other steps the government can take to make this PLI is more of a success? I mean, more attract more investment and more manufacturing here in India. Any additional points that you would like to recommend here? Just as a quick last question from you.
Yeah, I would just like to add, I mean, again, the same thing. So if something can be done to accommodate R&D, the manpower cost, because that is the major cost in designing any of the equipment. When we talk about any 4G, 5G, so the major, investment goes into R&D. If something can be done for that, that will be a good achievement, and that will be a good support for the domestic industry to come up with.
Great. So, sir, Dr. Upadhyay, just last, any comments from your side? I think it was a good discussion and a very fruitful discussion. Great to hear all of you. But any last comments from your side, sir?
No, I think the summary I feel is one that people have liked the PLI scheme, but they have certain apprehensions. And as Nitin, Saurabh, and Subrata ji will agree, the DOT is very, very proactive these days. I think there are multiple groups you don't have to wait for time. You just put in WhatsApp and your reply comes. I have seen many cases which were stuck in custom or something for any reason, because they also need to follow their processes. They were resolved very, very quickly. So I see a great future for the Indian manufacturing ecosystem. We all need to work together, and government is very keen, very, very, very keen to see this Indian manufacturing ecosystem come up, and we, become cost competitive, we become quality competitive, and we not only, supply to our country, we also are able to export to various other countries, to bring jobs here, to help our economy, help our socio-economic parameters. So definitely, I see a great future for Indian manufacturing system in India.
Sure. Thank you, sir. And definitely, we definitely believe that this PLI should come out as a game changer for the telecom industry, especially for the manufacturing equipments, etc. With this, I would like to thank you all for the insight that you offered, and for all the word of wisdoms that you have highlighted here. I would thank you all, and good evening. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Bye.